Okay, so let's move on now to the next question. This was sent by Vuyo Shabalala, and the question that he or she wanted to know, how to calculate carrying value at the end of the year when there is addition and disposal. Right, so he is referring to your carrying value at the end of the year. That's what he is referring to. I just want to quickly draw up a bit of the tangible asset note. So let's just use equipment as an example. So remember, you obviously going to start off with carrying value at the beginning of the year. So for example, you are given cost at the beginning of the year, and guys, I'm just now making up some random figures. So let's say my cost is 100,000, accumulated depreciation at the beginning of the year, and again I'm just making up figures. Let's say it's 40,000, and obviously accumulated depreciation must be in brackets. So my cost minus accumulated depreciation, carrying value at the beginning of the year, should be 60,000. Okay, that should be straightforward. Now remember, during the year, how can carrying value now change? Now what do we mean by carrying value? Carrying value refers to the worth of the asset, the actual worth of the asset. So how can this value change? This value will change if there is an addition. Okay, so remember guys, additions, we are now buying new equipment during the year, and as a result, the value of our equipment now is going to increase because we are obviously owning more. Right, so think about it. I've got 10 laptops in my business. I buy a further 2 laptops. Obviously, I'm going to have more in my business. So additions, let's again just make up a figure. Okay, so an amount of 20,000. That is now going to increase my carrying value. I'm going to then add my additions. Okay, you guys with me? Right, now let's look at disposal. Okay, so remember we spoke quite a bit about disposal earlier on. Disposal, I am getting rid of the asset. Could be for various reasons. I don't need the asset anymore. The asset is too old or it's outdated, but I'm now getting rid of the asset. So when you show disposal in the tangible asset note, it is always at carrying value. In other words, you're taking your cost of the asset that you're selling minus the accumulated depreciation, exactly what we did earlier on, and that will give you your carrying value for disposal. So for example, my disposal, okay, again, I'm just making up a random figure, is 10,000. And you can obviously see that that is in brackets because remember, if I'm getting rid of an asset, right, my carrying value is now going to decrease because that asset is now not part of my business anymore. I don't own the asset once I've sold the asset or once I've disposed of the asset. Right, so what else affects carrying value? Obviously, depreciation. Okay, and we did a bit of depreciation calculations earlier on. So when we talk on depreciation, we're looking at total depreciation on equipment for the entire year. So it could be on old equipment, it could be on new equipment, it could be updating when you had the asset disposal. This is your total depreciation. So for example, again, I'm just making up a figure. Let's assume your total depreciation is 5,000, and remember, depreciation decreases the value of your asset and therefore it must be in brackets. Right, how do I calculate my carrying value at the end of the year? Because remember, that was the question. So it's very, very simple, guys. I'm going to start off with carrying value at the beginning of the year. So let's get the calculator out. So my carrying value at the beginning of the year, okay, an amount of 60,000. Right, to that carrying value, I am then going to add additions. Okay, so plus additions, which is 20,000. Okay, then I am going to subtract disposal, so minus the 10,000. Okay, and then finally I must also subtract my depreciation of 5,000, and that gives me a carrying value at the end of the year 65,000. Okay, so I'm hoping that answered your question. Again, obviously, if you made a mistake somewhere along the line, remember you will get method marks, so show your calculation. Very, very important, Vuyo, that you show your calculation. Okay, right, so that question done. The last question that I probably have a bit of time to look at was, can the teacher show how to calculate the amount of carrying disposal at carrying value? Right, so I think I touched on that earlier on. Okay, so that question referred to this part here. How do I calculate disposal? Okay, so remember guys, all you're doing is you're taking your cost minus accumulated depreciation. Okay, right, and I think we did an example, so hopefully your question, you would have found the correct answer to that particular question.